I can give you a screen. Hold on.
We're live.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Deborah Brooks, Chair of the Policy and Personnel Work Session Committee. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll take roll call. And I think Julie has a flag. She's going to pop up soon.
Hold on just a sec.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Pressure's on.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, everybody stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Cindy, if you could just please take roll call so we know who's here for the minutes.
Sure. Ms. Brooks?
Present.
Ms. Epstein?
Present.
Okay, Ms. Bays? Ms. Bays? Okay, she's on mute.
She's saying she's here.
She's saying, okay. And Ms. Gilliar?
I'm present.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Shields and Dr. Hines are here. Dr. Shields, would you like to start off with the minutes of the personnel update?
Of course, thank you. So the committee has available to them, if they find it helpful, the minutes from our last meeting, which was May 19th. In addition, the personnel update, the elementary assistant principal appointment will be appearing on the June 22nd board agenda. Number 2 is the middle school assistant principal. Replacement is in the process of being hired. You may recall that there was a leave approved at the last board meeting. So that replacement will be hired very soon. And then number 3, I wanted to remind the board that there were 4 new retirements that were approved by the board at the last board meeting. Those were teacher retirements, 2 in the area of physical education, 1 6th grade teacher, and 1 high school librarian. Those 4 positions are in the process of being filled as well. As part of the federal funds that were allocated to the school district, we've also posted 7.5 positions. I believe the board was informed on the rationale behind all 7.5 of those positions. But just to remind you, and if the community was interested, they're in the area, 4 teachers in the area of AIS, one is in math, and then 3 are in reading. There's a district-wide social worker, a high school guidance counselor, middle school social worker, and a half-time social worker in the area of pre-K. So that is our personnel update. So are there any questions about that?
Emily?
So we've posted all those jobs that are part of the federal. Do we expect hope that they'll be filled right before the summer, or when they have to begin? We expect to be hiring throughout.
Yeah, we're in the process of that hiring. We've posted them, meaning that when I say posted, we've advertised them internally and also on an online service that we have called OLAS. The administrators are in charge of overseeing those positions or in the process of reviewing those applications, because those postings have windows of time in which we allow people to come into the post to apply to the position. So they're in the works right now.
Thank you.
And because these are one-time federal funds, they're not continuing every year. These are positions just for the 21-22 school year, or do we envision trying to keep these individuals on beyond pending budgetary constraints or ability?
Yeah, so
Sure.
I can answer that. Oh,
okay, go
sorry,
ahead, Dr.
Dr. Let's give you a little bit of a brief. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so that's a really great question. The funds actually last more than 1 year. We can stretch them out over 3 years, which is our goal. At some point during those 3 years, we have to think about and plan for how we can bring those positions into the general fund. I've mentioned this, oh gosh, probably a few months ago. It's important that we move these positions forward, but then we don't want to just let them go after 3 years. So we have to plan for that accordingly. On an aside, I want to let you know that we're looking at, just like if you think back to the 1920 school year and the budget recommendation initially for the 2021 year, we were talking about ICT classrooms for elementary. We're looking to actually expand what Dr. Shields just spoke about and looking to potentially actually have ICT classrooms beginning this fall as well. So more to come. And not to make this any longer than it has to be, we have a board meeting on Tuesday, and I will be articulating all of this and so much more Tuesday evening as well. So all good news so far.
If I just may follow up, I know for 2019, 2020, you had recommended a social worker and a high school guidance counselor. So the social worker and the guidance counselor would be just as you had originally envisioned for 2019, 2020. And this is just trying to play catch up.
Correct. And that's why the conversation that I've been having with Dr. Allen and the cabinet is to see if we can figure out a way, and I think we can, introduce ICT at least 3 grade levels for next year. And then the following year, looking for 3 more grade levels, which would make the elementary program complete at that point.
Emily, your hand's up.
Yes, I just want to add one more thing. So Dr. Hines talked about how this is programming that was hopefully going to be retained for 3 years based or these positions. We have the funding based from the federal dollars. What I'm asking and is that oh, sorry guys, my something's happening to my computer, but I'm back. Sorry, I don't know if I was lost, but what I'm asking is that we put in some sort of request for assessing the effectiveness or how well it's worked, so that we are ready as we get to the third year mark to say, well, here's what we saw, right? The before and after. I think if we had the data, it will help us as a board going forward, whoever's on the board 3 years from now, to have the data of what happened before and how. So if we could just keep that in mind as we're going forward with these types of hires, that we look for the data on that. Did I make sense?
It totally makes sense. Okay. Yeah, we want to apply some metrics to make sure that the return on this investment is working. And there is a triangulation as far as the supports that are being offered right now. So we have the high school guidance counselor, we have the middle school guidance counselor, and then we have the social worker who will be working district wide, and the new E&L director. So they will all be coordinating together, and we will come up with a plan to make sure we're getting the most bang for our buck.
Julie?
Thank you. So just along the same lines, I'm assuming, again, where I think we're kind of jumping ahead here, but I am assuming that this will all be part of our strategic plan after we talk about our vision and mission and all of that. And in that strategic plan, we will build in those metrics for accountability and assessment, right? Is that how you're looking at this moving forward as well? Okay.
100%. And, for those of us, because it will be a long board meeting, we have 4 presentations and they're all really, really important ones. So we'll have the vision and mission. We'll have an update as far as our equity work with NYU, right? We'll have how we're spending these dollars moving forward. And then, of course, and then we have what reopening looks like for next year. But to answer your question, Julie, yes, it all ties into the strategic plan, which will have metrics in place to measure.
Okay, I don't see any other hands up. Dr. Shields, would you like to proceed with the policy issues?
Of course. So item 1.3 on the agenda is student gender identity. I was asked by the committee to pass along the sample policy that we'd reviewed at our last meeting to NYU. That has been shared with the leaders of that initiative at NYU for their review and their feedback. And I imagine that we'll get some of that feedback within their recommendations of their report that they'll make to us next month. The next item on the agenda is policy 5144, our student discipline and the code of conduct. I just wanted to make sure the committee knew that the NYU also has this documentation, and that they are in the process of reviewing it, and they'll be making recommended changes to us as part of their summary report as well. You'd asked for an update on the status of annual updates. That's item 1.5 on the agenda. There's 3 policies that we have reviewed, so we are current. I think was your short question. So just to review with the committee what they are: investments, which is 6240, purchasing, which is 6700, and the code of conduct, which is 5144. Those need to be reviewed annually, and we have done that successfully. And so I just wanted to assure the committee that that's in place. All right, I'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which was policy 5100, attendance. 5100, I have been in touch with Howard Miller, our attorney. As you know, he said at our last meeting that he would be working on this policy and rewriting it, and then sharing a draft with me. When I checked in with him most recently, he said he's still working on it, and he just asked the committee for a little bit more time to do so. So I would recommend that since this is our closing meeting of this school year, that we make sure we have that on the agenda for September. And Cindy will help us do that. 1.7 was policy 6800, the accounting of fixed assets. I did review it with Mary Callahan. Mary Callahan has some slight edits that I'd like to share with you. If you're looking at policy 6800, it's on the top of page 2. And it's just one sentence that she would recommend we alter slightly. And Cindy has these edits prior to our meeting, so she's prepared to make those changes if the committee believes they're appropriate. So that top sentence on the top of page 2 says, in addition, all IT implements, tools such as Chromebooks, monitors, printers, etc., will be similarly, and then we're going to cross out the rest of that sentence and insert recorded, tagged, and records maintained by the IT department.
May I interject and ask a question?
Yep.
When we last spoke about this, it was the policy was also going to be run by Ryan Maloney in the IT department. So this was coordinated with him?
Yep, I checked in with Ryan as well, and he said he liked the recommendation made by Mary Callahan.
Great. Okay. Any comments?
Looks good.
We're good? Everybody here good? Emily says yes. Julie says yes. Rachel?
She's
Deborah says yes.
Right.
Rachel's still on mute.
Should we put it on for first reading?
I think we should put it on for first reading, yes.
Perfect.
And if anybody has any objections, then they can let us know. Okay, thank you.
Very good. So item 1.8 on the agenda is policy 4526, computer use and instruction acceptable use policy. Ryan Maloney, our director of technology, has reviewed it, and he said it's fine as is. He would not recommend any changes.
Okay, then we'll just put as reviewed. Just checking. I just want to make sure we have that policy, and our policy is okay as is.
Yes.
And so we'll just mark it as reviewed. Thank you.
Very well. That's absolutely. Then item 1.9 on the agenda is in January, this committee asked us to put this on the agenda for June, so we can make sure that we follow up on it once we receive the recommendations from NYU. So I thank Cindy for helping make sure we keep that on our agenda now, and then we can revisit it if we need to, which I would suggest we would after we get the recommendations from NYU.
Okay, so September?
Yes.
Unless we all decide to meet over the summer, but September is good. Okay, thank you.
And Ms. Brooks, that brings us to the end of the agenda for today.
It does. It does. I thank you very much. I thank everybody here. Oh, hello, Larry. Larry Greenstein has joined us for the record. I thank everybody here for helping us to accomplish what I know started out as an incredibly ambitious agenda, and we did it. We have a lot to follow up on in September with the NYU Metro work. Does anybody here have any questions, comments, thoughts? I don't see any hands raised. Okay.
But
I would just like to thank the committee for all their help this year. I think we accomplished a lot together, and I appreciate the wonderful collaborative spirit that we have here on this committee.
I wanted to echo that. I wanted to also say, Deborah, job well done. You took the reins on this, and we got through a lot of some very long agendas, but we got through them. So good job. We did good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody on the committee and within the administration for making this ship sail very smoothly. Are there any community comments? Anybody in the community? Anybody had any hands raised? Okay, I see everybody's quiet. So I don't know if we need to make a motion to adjourn for the year, but if we do, I'll make it. Everybody in agreement? Okay, so please stay safe. Keep policy in mind. We'll be back in September. Maybe the same faces, maybe different ones. Have a good summer. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.